Governance, Risk and Compliance, or GRC. There'll be a huge amount of change across the spectrum of GRC in coming years, focused on things that have happened so far in 2020 as well as longer term structural shifts moving forward. One of the biggest changes will be to the G, the governance side, particularly as we evolve more towards an era of ESG, environment, social and governance. Now, whilst the areas of environment, particularly a focus on the climate, and the social side, particularly a focus on employees, customers, and things like third parties, will generate huge press in the next year or so, I wanted today to look at the governance side. What will the changing nature of business mean for corporate governance in organisations, and particularly for things like boards of directors? We'd already started seeing a shift in terms of how boards are viewed, their contribution towards the organisation, and the idea of their stewardship approach as opposed to a pure fiduciary duty approach. In the future, I think it's going to become much more common that we see specialist board of director positions being created for people with more niche skill sets. For example, those that come potentially from a healthcare based background, looking at the needs of individuals in their organisation as well as customers and suppliers if there are repeats of things like a global pandemic. We're likely to see people that have more of a specialist background in crisis management. A lot of organisations have really struggled so far in 2020 to message and manage the PR battle they've had as it relates to things their organisations have done in the glare of public scrutiny. A structural shift we'd already seen was a move towards having people with specialist technology expertise, particularly focused on areas including cybersecurity and things like data protection. There have been continued developments on both cybersecurity and the data front this far in 2020, and that will continue for many, many years to come. So we're going to look, I think, at seeing boards that are a bit more diverse from a skill set perspective. People that have things like pandemic or healthcare backgrounds, people that have crisis experience, potentially business continuity management or disaster recovery planning, and people with technology skills across cybersecurity and data protection spectrums. I don't think it will stop there. I think this trend will continue as time goes by, and boards are more heavily scrutinised with the view of how they act as stewards for the organisation. There's more public and media pressure on organisations now than ever before. That looks set to continue into the future as people will use more technology to gather news and information on organisations they hear about or deal with directly as a consumer. So there'll be a continued push on making sure boards have the relevant skill set to manage all facets of the organisation appropriately, not just looking at the financial metrics and financial risk of the corporation.